Austin, come in, Austin. This isn't real. This isn't real, man. You gotta snap out of it. Enough with the intros, dude. They're not funny. Quit doing it.
Where do we start after that ending? I don't even know. Okay, what is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking episode 5 of WandaVision. The madness is full on, and we'll talk about all of it. This is a spoiler-heavy video, so if you haven't seen the episode, please do yourself a favor. Go watch it. We all knew this show would pick up, but I don't think anybody knew it would get this crazy and essentially let us know that Wanda may be the most powerful character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but we're going to get into that. Thank you guys for tuning in. Leave your comments down below on this episode, and if you like this ongoing series every single week, drop that thumbs up. Okay, so the episode starts out on actually a very similar note as to what it has started out on. We get the decade introduction, and this week's episode is the 1980s from the introduction that we get. The theme song, once again, being really cute, too. Just the look and the aesthetic of the entire show. Wanda and Vision come down. They're taking care of their kids. They are visited, another drop-in from Agnes, who is Agatha Harkness, the witch, but we'll talk about that later. And this is when things start to get a little outside of the norm really early in the episode. So I knew we would eventually get out of this and go back to the characters that we visited in the last episode. But Agnes says, essentially, oops, was that supposed to happen? Should we start over? And that's when Vision really starts to take notice of things, as he kind of has through the first couple of episodes. But he says, what's going on here? Why are things not playing out in a way that feels realistic? Why are our kids growing literally years per minute? At one point they turn around and their kids are significantly older. So you would think, even with Wanda's mind control, that Vision would start to recognize that things are getting a bit weird. And later on in the episode we hear him say, why are there no other kids in this town? Why is it a desolate area? And then of course what happens with one of the characters when he snaps out of it, thanks to Vision. So essentially all of this is setting up for Vision and Wanda to kind of face off later in the episode when they both float up in the air and do floaty things. And it's tough to see, especially knowing their relationship. Okay, let's cut back to Monica Rambeau and what's going on outside of the bubble. And we get, guys, some nuggets and some stuff that I think is going to spell what is to come in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I will talk about it. Let's jump into it. Let's start here. Monica mentioned something that I think is one of the most important things that no one, well, I'm sure, you know, us that know will talk about it, but your average casual fan will just completely overlook this line. Monica says, I know an aerospace engineer. Let's take a look into the Marvel Cinematic Universe at all of the engineers that we know of. Now, since it is Monica Rambeau, I think there is a good possibility that this character is Blue Marvel. Because in the comics, this character has a PhD in electrical engineering and theoretical physics, and he is very heavily, clearly connected to Captain Marvel, as well as, from a comic book standpoint, Ant-Man. Now, this is a character that is very interesting, in my opinion, and I just think that Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel connection kind of spells that out. But if you want to dive a bit deeper and not go the Captain Marvel connection, we can actually look at a character by the name of Reed Richards, who is, in the comic books, an aerospace engineer as well as an electrical engineer. Guys, I don't want to get you too excited, too hyped up about something that may not come to fruition, but that line is one of the most important things we have seen from WandaVision thus far. That line, I think, could spell a huge cameo or maybe even a role later on in the season. I think we're about to get Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four. That's what the hopeful side of my fanboyism is saying. What the more logical part of my brain is saying is the character of Blue Marvel. But either way, that line is very important. Do not overlook it. All right, back to the plot. During that conversation with Wu, Monica, and Darcy, they mentioned a few things that caught my ear. When they brought up Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau didn't really seem to like that. She may have a bit of anger towards Marvel for leaving her when she was younger, and I guess never coming back and visiting her. We don't know the specifics there. They do talk about the fact that Wanda is essentially rewriting reality, and changing everything from matter to obviously individuals' minds and showing us how powerful she truly is. And we always knew it would be the case, but the storyline of House of M in the comic book shows us that, and obviously we're taking elements from that in this because we also get in that bubble Sparky, the dog, who is a character in the comic books, a very tragic character, by the way, who dies, comes back to life, so I have a feeling we're going to be seeing Sparky again. That's not the end of Sparky, unless it was just a plot point to show us or to allow Vision to come in and hear the conversation about bringing things back to life, knowing that Vision is a character who is brought back to life, because we also see Wanda breaking into Sword and getting Vision's dead body and bringing him back to life. So it is confirmed that he is back to life. That is his body. It was not just something spooky that she was seeing in the last episode. It was probably what Vision actually looks like, and whether it be that version of reality or reality in general, Vision is now alive. And that is both terrifying and interesting. I also loved the conversation when they were talking about killing Thanos and how Wanda had the opportunity to do that, but he essentially sent the fleet after both her and Captain Marvel. So these two female heroes, very powerful in the MCU. She had a chance, and I think everybody knows that. I'll tell you what, guys, the scene where they're all reading Darcy's message off of the computer at the same time, it was creepy. And if you think about it, this whole episode is creepy because Vision is slowly starting to become more aware of his surroundings. And at a point when they send in the drone, Wanda's had enough. She actually goes outside of the town for the first time, approaches our Sword agents and says, listen, guys, you've got to stop this. I have my own perfect reality. You keep impeding on my space. Stop doing this. And Monica tells her, I know there's good in you, Anakin. I understand that you're doing this for a very specific reason, but why are you taking so many people under your wing, mind controlling all of these individuals from this town? And then she ends up turning the guns on our director here, who, by the way, is not, there's something up there, right? He's up to something. I just feel like he's not all that he says he is. I don't know specifically what he would be, but, you know, there's something about that. It's also strange to me that all of these weird things with the kids continue to happen every time Agnes shows up. So, not that I think there's outside control here with Agnes, but clearly Sword doesn't know who she is. I feel like she is more so in control than we think she is, but I also feel like it's not all Wanda's doing here, right? I feel like Agnes or someone from the outside, maybe Mephisto, which we've talked about multiple times, that is my theory, I don't know anything, is in control here, and it sets us up for the end of this episode when we get that showdown between the two, and there's a lot of anger, so much anger that Wanda decides to cut to credits, and Vision says, I'm not done here. We're not done talking. And then all of a sudden, our characters kind of snap out of it because we hear the doorbell ring. Now, I recorded a little reaction video that I'm going to put out a little bit later today. So you'll see how I felt when we get that revealed. But when we see who it is at the door, that's when my brain exploded. Now, I knew that Evan Peters was cast. There was a report out 6 to 8 months ago that he was cast. And immediately, I went there in my head. I said, no, they're not going to do that. There's no way they're going to do that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I knew they were going to open up the multiverse. I just didn't know it was going to have anything to do with the X-Men. Now, I'm of two minds on this. I have two different theories. Are you ready for them? Okay. Evan Peters is clearly back, and clearly he is playing, according to them, he was recast as this version of Quicksilver in the MCU. Wow, they really recast Pietro, a.k.a. Peter, as he is known in his universe. So here's where I'm at on this. Is it his version of Quicksilver from another universe? Obviously, the accent kind of threw me off a little bit, but it's an 80s episode and everyone's acting a bit different. Okay, that could be it. Or is he someone else? Because she didn't know who was at the door, meaning this was outside of her control. So either she opened up the multiverse, right, unaware of what she brought into this universe, or Evan Peters is not playing Quicksilver. He may be playing someone else. Could Evan Peters be Mephisto? Because I'm still trying to figure out who is Mephisto, what is he going to have to do with this. I know Mephisto is showing up eventually. He plays such an integral role in a similar storyline in the comics. We're clearly going House of M, down to something as specific as Sparky the dog. We're doing House of M, okay? Who is Mephisto? So Evan Peters coming in randomly like that without her knowing kind of tells me that something's up here. And it may not be what we expect. So while I'm excited, I'm so excited to see him back as Quicksilver, whether it be his version or just a new version entirely. I mean, clearly, why would you cast Evan Peters? But again, that could just be a cover-up. They could be duping the fans and not planning on introducing these versions of the X-Men characters. So my brain, it's that meme of just like scrambling. I'm trying to figure everything out, and I think that's the beauty of what this show is doing right now. It is allowing fans to have so many theories and just a lot of speculation. And Olsen coming out and saying this week that there's a cameo at the end of the season. At the end of the season, so not even this one that is going to blow people away. Could that be a Reed Richards? I don't know, guys. I've speculated like crazy. I'm sure y'all think I'm going nuts over here, but I'm having such a good time with this show. I need you guys down below. What were your thoughts on this episode? Again, expect another video coming out a bit later that is just, just pure enthusiasm. And that's what I have towards this show right now, because there's so much happening that I'm just trying to figure it all out one step, one episode at a time. Oh, I also forgot to mention the commercial that we get right in the middle that mentions Lagos, and of course Lagos is the city from Civil War that she destroyed. So clearly the commercials have everything to do with what's on her mind right now, and that's tying in as well. And just my brain, I can't take it all. My brain's going to explode. But I'm glad you guys are here with me for that experience. You guys are truly the best. Come back next week. We're going to keep talking about WandaVision. If you want to subscribe to this channel, drop a thumbs up, all those wonderful things. I appreciate you all coming back and supporting everything we're doing over here. Whew. All right, take a breath, Austin. I'll see you soon.